Hi, I'm back again. So, this is Workplace Mobbing Part 4, altering your perception or massive attempts to alter your perceptions of reality. So, this is something that the mobbers do, um, and it's crazy making. It really is crazy making in a nutshell. And what's crazy making? To make crazy. The purpose is to make the other person, the target, crazy. And they will say things that are not true, lots of fabrications. You'll be doing regular day-to-day stuff, such as sitting at your chair, walking to the photocopying machine, going to a workstation, and they just hurl a whole bunch of taunts and humiliation. They're really, the purpose they're trying to do is trying to make you feel like dirt. Or even make you feel like, well, SHIT. That's really what they're trying to do. And I mean, it's quite interesting when you document as to the ways that they do this. For instance, they like to do this in front of an audience because in order for the workplace mobbing to be effective, they need an audience, right? They're too they're too pathetic to not do anything independently. So in order to abuse somebody, they need to get their entourage to join in on their disgusting notion of fun. So here's some illustrations on what, or examples rather, of what crazy making looks like, otherwise known as altering your perception of reality. So say if you leave your cubicle, you have your pen or pencil in one spot, and you leave your cubicle, say you go to the washroom, you go get some coffee or tea, or you go to just get your paper, and then all of a sudden, when you get back to your cubicle, your pen is missing. I've had this, as I've been documenting this has happened at least 10 separate occasions. Pen is missing. You haven't dropped the pen, you haven't lent the pen to anybody, the pen's missing. So I walk with pens in my pocket now because I know that this occurs. And the thing is that on its own, as an isolated incident, it's trivial, right? You know, you could have lost a pen, you could have given it away, you could have left it somewhere else. But when it happens multiple times, something's up. And for those who this may be the first time that you've gone through mobbing, you may not really consider anything of it because it's a pen. But the whole purpose is to deceive you. You know, your pen was there, now it's gone. Well, what happened? Right? And then it builds, right? It's an accumulative effect. The only way that you'll get to see is when it's too late, when it's accumulative. So for instance, say if you are having a conversation with a colleague because you have to, but when they see you, they see that you're already typing and you're having this conversation, and then you ask, okay, well, here, I've sent the email. Can you go look at the email and let me know if there's anything, that is of concern, because I have all the information in the email. And they accuse you of being dismissive. Well, wait a second. They didn't, prepare you for coming over. You didn't have an appointment to speak with them. They just popped by your cubicle, started rattling off all these details. So you give what little time that you have because you're busy. They see you typing. They see you making notes. They see you doing all this stuff. and you've sent off the email to say, can you please just take a look at the email? It may have answered all the questions that you're asking me right now, and they accuse you of being dismissive. Or you come into work, you literally just came through the door, putting your items on the desk, and you hear two colleagues within earshot talk about how rude you are because you didn't greet them. Mind you, they're in an aisle. They're embedded somewhere deep down in the aisle that I can't see them. So I didn't even know if they were there. But they decide to, again, use this opportunity to fabricate and gossip, maliciously gossip, to claim that I didn't even greet them. And these types of things, like it's provocation. It's provocation. It's some elements of brainwashing. A way to help you visualize what it looks like. What I'm going to recommend that you do is in your workplace journal, you have a section where you write down the regular day-to-day stuff, like I came to my cubicle and sat down and started entering into my computer. Or I got up and walked from my cubicle to the photocopier to pick up a print job. Or anything that is, even if it just went to go and make a tea, right? So you write down the regular day-to-day stuff because that's what actually happened. That's the reality. That's what you're establishing. And then you write down the litany of negative feedback that you receive from these perpetrators, so-called coworkers. I started doing that. I did that for a week. I can read to you some of them. So I have where I got to the door, like through the door to the cubicle to sit down, put down my stuff, and about to enter my code into the computer to access the computer and start my day. The two coworkers that I didn't even know that were there, that were farther down in another aisle that was just next to mine, could hear them within earshot. Oh, she didn't bother greeting us. Well, hopefully she doesn't sit here today. Yeah, I really like my desk, and I don't want her in this area. You don't give any judgment. You just write down, like you store it in your mind as to what was said, and then you just pour it out. You write it out as to all the stuff that they had said. Or there was another time. Here's the reality. I got up from my cubicle to walk to the photocopying machine. Negative feedback from the perpetrators. Oh, look at her walk. Look at her clothes. All you can see is ass. She thinks that she's good. I love how she likes walking around thinking nothing's wrong. I don't like her. She's uppity. She's ignorant. Now it takes less than a minute for me to get from the cubicle to the photocopying machine. And here I'm getting all this feedback. And that was just a one-way trip. Mind you, I have to come back from the photocopying machine to the cubicle. And had a whole list of other negative feedback. So they do all of this to erode your confidence. They do all of this to break you down to the point where you think that you're nothing. The importance of having a workplace journal for yourself, when you keep it in a private spot, I would recommend not putting it in your car, because I've heard of people's cars being broken into through gang stalking. I recommend that you have it in your home, somewhere secure. where you can write it down and you can also review to help you remember that the problem's not you. The problem is them. They are the problem. Another thing that would also help you is to make sure that you have a sound support group, be it family, friends, but people who really know you and know who you are, who know you for you, so that when you go to them and you say, I'm getting bombarded and this is what's happening, they remind you of who you really are. Because the whole purpose of altering perception, of crazy making, is for them to take, them being the perpetrators, is for the perpetrators to take what they actually are and put that onto you. Otherwise known as projection. So there's 3 names that are pretty much similar: projection, crazy making, and altering your perception. And brainwashing. They're all related. So yeah, they're taking who you are, and they are imprinting what they are, what the perpetrators are, onto you. And they're taking what you have and putting it onto themselves. They're the original identity thieves. They're the original identity thieves. Because that's essentially what they're doing. They're taking your identity and putting it onto themselves, taking their nasty, disgusting, diseased selves and trying to put that on you. Oftentimes, I wouldn't say that they're successful, because it's either people just don't want to see what's going on. I don't want to think that people are extremely stupid for not knowing, but I really feel that people see what's going on. I believe that people are a lot smarter than they are, and they see what's going on. Because I would look at the perpetrators, and I would see other workers who are not a part of that group see what's going on and walk away quickly because they don't want to be a part of it. They walk away quickly. They're bystanders. They know what's going on. They've seen this happen before, and they allow it to happen. And to those bystanders, I call you cowards. Cowards. Because you know it's wrong what they're doing. You know it's wrong. And you know that the person who's being targeted is up against a negativity tsunami. And you're just going to allow it to happen. And that's what most people do. They allow it to happen. So yes, those are the 2 strategies I would recommend, is make sure that you have a support group. If you don't have a support group, such as family, friends, even, turning to YouTube, to Facebook, creating your own channel and generating a support group that way, for people to help remind you of your positive self, because they're really trying to break you down into nothing and to apply their nastiness onto you. And that's I wouldn't even consider a gift. That is not something you want. So yeah, stay tuned for part 5. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to name part 5 yet. I might call it name calling and codes. Name calling, codes, and dog whistling. I'll probably call it that. Well, thank you for listening, and I will create the next video.